too.
How you doing with that cane?
She has been a lifesaver, actually. It's been a lifesaver,
Is that good?
especially toward the end of the day. I don't use it all day, and then
It's so tired. You
at the
get
end
so
of the day,
tired.
I'm barely leaning.
I mean, I suppose I could do the agenda and everybody else could do a non-agenda, but I like to save my space. Just in case.
Coat hooks over on the wall or something like that.
Maybe to the other side, they have the coat rack.
Oh, do they? I guess I never walked in that direction.
Oh, no, never mind, never mind.
Yeah, oh, and in the back there. I mean, yeah.
How's your leg doing? How's your foot doing?
I will. I'll do it right now.
Feeling well right now.
Yeah, just feeling well.
I'm really enough as I can.
Yeah, I just gave you another, he gave me another month. I got a torn tendon, but it's a split tear. It's not a complete tear. And it's taking
Uncle
its
Sarah.
own time.
I like your blinged out cast.
I know. Did you do that, or did you have your child do it?
Cover you can buy from
Oh, really?
Amazon.
No kidding. I didn't even know. Is that to, does it protect from the snow and stuff?
Oh, it's just cute.
I'm gonna, if I could burn this thing when I'm done with it, I'm gonna, I hate it. Absolutely a nightmare.
My scooter, I just want to push it out into the street. Most annoying.
I have one of those, but
Hi there.
my husband talks about getting it down from the attic.
I was for 6 years. Wait.
Notable from your break? Got a great. I got the COVID shot 9 days ago now, and I stopped like different kind of medication. It just doesn't stop. Pressure. Sorry, pressure. Just the kind that you get from pharmacies. So I'm not sick. I'm just like headache all the time.
Is it sinus?
Yeah. So the first 2 days were horrible. I was in bed, but then the rest have just been a headache.
Well, I'll tell you, I just happened to see there's a doctor that specializes in people who have chronic sinus infections. If you want his name, I'll text it to you
Okay.
tomorrow.
Well, this is from a COVID shot. It's from the shot. Yeah. Apparently, I've heard that if you're getting COVID now, it really is. It sets off migraines really easily and things, which I do get. So I'm thinking it's connected. But so anyway, that's not really fun.
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
Kind of cancel New Year's plans and things like that. But
Chronic sinus problems.
no, I
Not
do get
necessary.
migraines from time to time, but that part is under control until now.
Migraines.
I used to it was just so bad you'd have to get ahead of it, get Advil and get dark. But now it's a little better. I've changed some things and
You don't take
it's better.
prescription for it?
Oh, yeah. My uncle is that way, but I've been able to cut some caffeine. I did some really healthy things that. Hey.
How is everybody?
Good.
She's blessed.
Oh,
I
good.
started when I was,
Everybody's
Hello,
okay.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. As I've gotten older.
Everybody's
You get to say that the whole month of
Yeah.
the year.
Do you?
Is that official? You know, like, everyone is like, okay, yeah, we're well into
And
New Year stuff.
And those two things.
I have heard that.
Yeah, okay.
And the doctors are like, oh, that's probably.
Wait, soon as Star 105.7 starts playing.
I just heard in it, yeah.
I love it.
I give my brother-in-law a very hard time. He's a very prominent physician, and like, you guys don't know everything. You just don't. Maybe. Sure. I always forget where it is. So do you still get them just like? Yeah. That's what was really nice. My sister did. She's in Chicago, and she did some really horribly smelling Chinese tea, and she'll do it like every maybe 2 or 3 years now. And then if she gets one, she'll do it again, and it'll be years before she gets it again. But I was with her once, and it smelled. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Captain.
How do you drink? But yeah, it's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it for her.
Okay, make it quick, because I'm like 4 minutes past start.
Kathy's back. I love her. It's funny how often her name comes up. She's doing
you.
Our fiscal year is September 1st.
Because there are probably a lot of people in the world who feel
Oh, you're fine. At first I was like, did I miss what it's on? What network? What network it'd be on?
oh, probably NBC or CBS would be big.
It just like did your voice. That's true. I was teaching, so like I'll like just glanced at part of it, and I'm like, I must have missed a text. That's fine.
People who interested in the football game tonight, so we're gonna get started promptly, and we're gonna get out of here quickly.
We can take all the time you want as far as I'm concerned, Kim.
I know that. Mr. Ross is
Oh,
on his
here he
way
comes.
in. Mr. Eatman
Here he
is on his
comes.
way in. Look like Miss Davis is already here.
Kind of passed it out last week.
Yeah, yeah. It's been.
Oh no! Kathy, how did I get on there?
Starting to fight. Starting to fight. It is. Oh yeah, and it's Monday night. For guys.
More disrespectful.
No, of course you would.
No.
See you wearing your. Did you graduate from?
I ain't got nan credit. Not nan. I tried.
I love it.
That before I knew that they had some expectations. I literally thought you just like high school. You just chose where you wanted to go and you just went. I didn't know that I really did. You know, classic first generation stuff. So I just didn't know. And then they sent me my little Dear John letter. I was like, oh, really? That's all.
All right, wonderful. We're gonna get right into it.
Wait, why did my roommate? And this is well before like computerized stuff. She took my first semester
You could be tired.
Still waking up.
at Hampton because that's where I started out, and she went to like Kinko's and superimposed her because
that's how I had
she
to
had
take it.
re-time that first semester and did not have a credit. And I'm like, you realize that at the end of the year, you're supposed to
Yeah.
I used to have orange ones. They were like tangerine flavored. And
She's like, I'm gonna worry about it on the
now
backside.
they're, so they don't make them anymore. Some of them are $50. And so I had to make do with this orange edition. Happy New Year.
So I'm gonna do the resolution or the.
I didn't do that.
I'm gonna have to. I just here. You're just seeing the number that way I can text or whatever.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh yes, my grandmothers did. I knew they
That
would.
would be great.
It was our first. Yep. Back in the swing.
Thank you.
We're starting the facilities master's process.
I was just going over the script. So it's right
Julie.
Short since the spoils is once a short.
Academic.
I think you meant different. I know exactly what you mean.
It was my first day that asshole. Really trying not to like, do a lot of board stuff over the break.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me just try to disconnect. But I'm like, oh, I gotta figure it out. But I know we've got some events coming up.
If you can make sure is the additional ones we have to do. That's like
I remember John Awards.
yeah, there's just like only so many days I can pull.
I don't even email her. That's strange.
Yeah, it was fun last year. It's hard
How did she get it in?
a lot of those things. And I'm going to, since you guys have a board,
I don't email her, so I don't even have her email.
yeah, the student athletes
Thank you so much for being here.
Jordan, and we've not even
Okay.
talked about it.
To call this
Yeah,
meeting
no problem.
to order.
Your mic is not on.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Test.
All righty. Can you hear me yet? Everybody can hear me. Wonderful. We're going to call this meeting to order. We know that there is a special game that we are trying to get people to. And so, in order to move this meeting right along, we're going to start promptly. So we welcome and appreciate your presence at the meeting of the Grand Rapids Public School Board of Education for Monday, January 8th. We invite you to make public comment during our designated times, either on agenda or non-agenda items or both. Please fill out a comment card. I'm also going to ask that you take care to read the comment card as well. And then we will limit your comments to approximately 3 minutes. We are going to call this meeting to order with the roll call.
Ms. Davis? Here. Mr. Reitman?
Present.
Ms. Lewis here. Ms. Melton? Here. Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mr. Ross?
Here.
Shockey? Here. Ms. Wade? Present. Ms. Williams?
Present.
We have a quorum.
And we need approval of our agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All righty, next we have our elections of officers. So the first thing that we need to do is vote for a temporary chairperson. Followed by that, we'll need to vote for a temporary secretary. And so given our current roles, Anya, I'm looking for Ms. Lusk. Can we, are we okay to, as long as we're approved by the board, to function in those roles? Or does it, okay, wonderful. So I am going to ask for a nomination for a temporary chairperson.
I move that Mrs. Williams serve in that capacity.
Is there support?
Support.
All right. And please call the roll for that.
Too. Okay. Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Diekman?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Shockey?
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Carried.
Next, we need a nomination for a temporary secretary.
I move to put Trustee Lewis.
Is there support? Wonderful. Please call the roll.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Reitman?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Ms. Shockey?
Yes.
Ms. Wade?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All righty. And so we have the following nominations for the 2024 officers role, and they were submitted as follow. A nomination for Ms. Kimberly Williams, nominated by Ms. Kimberly Davis, Vice President nomination for Ms. Kimberly Davis, nominated by Mr. Raynard Ross. Secretary nomination for Ms. Catherine Downs Lewis, nominated by Ms. Jen Shockey. And for treasurer nomination for Ms. Jen Shockey, nominated by Ms. Catherine Downs Lewis. This is the slate that is being presented for this. Is there a motion to approve this slate for officers for 2024?
Motion to approve the slate.
Support.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Reitman?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Shockey?
Yes.
Ms. Wade? Yes. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All righty. So congratulations, board members. And again, if you are looking to be on the committee, make sure you send information to me promptly so we can try to get people set up for committees. Committee meetings for this month are the same as previous. We'll have the new schedule based on what the committee chair sets up and the committee members for February. We do not have any,
Actually, we do.
I'm sorry. I was about to.
That was an
Celebrations.
early ad. Yes, so celebration. So first of all, Happy New Year to everyone in the audience and as well as our board members who I have not had a chance to personally greet. And so what this is, and this will be kind of a blast to the past, so to speak, and I have an opportunity for our current board members to create their own kind of graphic. And so what this is, as we began the facilities master plan in 2021, we had a discussion around those initial conversations, and there were puzzle pieces of what are our hopes, the why behind why we're doing this work, and then what was our individual commitment. And then each person on that board at the time had an opportunity to kind of share what their hopes were, what their why was for the work, as well as their personal commitment as we move this work forward. And as you know, this has been a marathon, as we've talked about, kind of this is a marathon of work. And the facilitator who worked with us, Erica Curry Van E, was the person to kind of initially get us to start in this conversation. And she presented this to us in late December, and I said, this would be really cool to be able to share with our board as to kind of the journey that we have been on. And then I also have, because I believe in, you don't just say what's in the past, but then what's our future. And so at our first work session of the year, we'll have an opportunity for this board to share what are their hopes, the why, and the new commitments. And so what I want to do is I'm going to start with Trustee Melton, and you can look at it, and then you are also able to see who signed what, because that was the ask of it. And so there are certain members of our community, our board, as well as our leadership team who are not here, but they were part of that process. And so I'll just call out their names, like Mr. Oberst and Dr. Gorman, Miss Grant, Dr. Flores. So there were members of our community who aren't currently on our board, but they started this process, and you can see kind of what was driving our work. So if I can start this with Ms. Melton, and you can kind of just take a look. And then the next thing that we'll do is find a location for that spot. And so I wanted to use that as a way to frame how we're doing our work, and as a reminder of where we have been, but then also an opportunity of where we are going. So I have new puzzle pieces so that our new board will be able to add to this work.
Awesome. That was very nice. And I'm going to keep us moving along as we look through that. We do not have any scholar representatives tonight, so we'll move on from there. We're at our first public comment for agenda items only. And so Ms. Down Lewis, if you will read us in, and then we'll get started with that.
Tonight, yes, thank you. If there are any individuals who wish to address the board, please fill out the public comment card located at either entrance of the board chambers. Please also read the rules on the back of the comment card concerning policy and procedure. We have two public comment sections on the agenda. The first one is public comment on board agenda items only. Agendas are located by the comment cards. The second public comment opportunity is for commenting on non-agenda items related to the business of the district, but are not topics on the current agenda. If you wish to comment during both public comment opportunities, you will need to fill out separate cards. Individuals must completely fill out the front of the card and indicate the specific business on which they wish to comment. Please submit the completed card to the bin on the table at either entryway of the board chambers. Our board assistant will collect the cards submitted. We ask that speakers refrain from making abusive statements against board members, employees, volunteers, or contractors. Speakers are encouraged to present complaints about a specific board member, employee, volunteer, or contractor to the appropriate process established under Board Policy 9450 before requesting the board's consideration. Board policies can be found online at GRPS. Individuals will be invited one at a time to the podium to address the board. Before beginning your comment, please state your full name. At that time, we will start the timer, allowing each individual 3 minutes to make their comment. A 1-minute notice will be provided by flagging a red card. You will need to complete your comment time upon being notified that 3 minutes have passed. Board members do not respond to public comment. Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing.
All righty, first we have Ms. Jane Neiman from GREA.
Good evening. My name is Jane Neiman, Vice President of the GREA. First of all, on behalf of the GRA and all of our members, I would like to wish the board a happy new year. And my hope is that through this year that we can continue to listen to each other and work together and do what's best to make our district the best district in the county. My public comment on agenda items tonight refers to the purchasing agenda. I noticed that we are approving architectural services for some of the building renovations that are part of the reimagined plan. My request on behalf of our members is that teachers, social workers, and other staff and support staff, that their input is heard and asked for, and then seriously considered before renovations are done. In my experience, when we were, the year before Union High School underwent its renovations, our staff was approached about suggestions for the renovations, but many of those were not taken into account. And so I think it's important to listen to and hear the staff that will be in those buildings or the programs that may be moving to those buildings eventually, to make sure that they have the places and the spaces that they need to best serve students, and also to consider their opinions also in decor. Our building is very gray, and that does not make for a very positive, welcoming environment. So that is my request on behalf of our bargaining unit, that as you approve those services and as we look to planning renovations for the buildings that will be renovated, that we listen to the staff and the people that are in the buildings, as well as the students as well, to see what they would like to see and to make our spaces a more positive learning environment and working environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have superintendent's report.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Again, Happy New Year. And I was saying to our community, our board, that I get to say that through January 31, and then February 1 officially, it's like, all right, we in 2024. So I do hope that people have taken the time to recharge and to do some reflections on what has worked, and then opportunities for continued growth. I know that I have, and I'm not going to even tell you the resolutions that I've already broken, because they were broken probably January 3rd. It is our school board recognition and appreciation month, and with seriousness, I think it's important to, as we do celebrations and lift up others in our community, it's also important to acknowledge the work of our board members. And what our community may or may not be aware of is that these 9 members are volunteers and do quite a bit of work behind the scenes, oftentimes things that the public may not always be aware of. There are multiple committee meetings, small group meetings, additional meetings, one-on-one meetings with myself and other members of our district and school leadership team. And they do this for the benefit of our community as a whole. And I know that each of the 9 board members are extremely committed to hearing voice and advocacy of the community. And often that sometimes means that we have to make, or they have to make, some difficult choices and conversations. But I think that it's important to just publicly state that there's a lot of discussion and dialogue that does take place to see what's good for the whole of our district. And that means that sometimes people are happy and sometimes people might be a little disappointed, but it's for the whole of the organization. And so with that, I want to just read a resolution related to School Board Member Recognition and Appreciation Month. Whereas Governor Gretchen Whitmer has declared the observance of January 2024 as School Board Member Recognition Month for the state of Michigan, whereas the Grand Rapids Board of Education, our decision-making body of Grand Rapids Public Schools affecting the needs of the Grand Rapids community, whereas Grand Rapids Public School Board members continually strive for equity, progress, innovation, and access to education with an understanding of commitment to change for growth and demonstration of the approval of the reimagined GRPS with Us plan through committee work, special board meetings, engagement opportunities, and numerous other thoughtful and intentional ways to be involved. Whereas The individual members who make up the body of Grand Rapids Public Schools Board of Education come from unique and varied backgrounds with diverse experiences and knowledge. Each individual board member demonstrates the passion in education and desire to affect policy, government, academics, and finance to support the needs of public education for Grand Rapids Public Schools, scholars, and staff. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Dr. Leadrian Roby, Superintendent of Grand Rapids Public Schools, do hereby declare January 2024 as School Board Appreciation Member Recognition Month in the Grand Rapids in the Grand Rapids Public Schools. I commend the members of the Grand Rapids Board of Education for their dedicated service to our scholars, our parents, and staff in this community. I encourage the citizens of this community to join me in expressing a warm and heartfelt thank you to our board members for their public service. Be it further resolved that the scholar representatives to the board also be recognized with heartfelt gratitude for their time, dedication, and service to the board in providing the input on a wide variety of student issues across our district. They continue to impress all of us with their leadership, intelligence, and thoughtfulness. Be it further resolved that this resolution is recorded in the proceedings of the Board of Education and a copy be placed in the file. And that is from myself and our members of our community. So again, thank you are two words that we don't say often enough, but they are so very meaningful and powerful. And so although we don't always agree, and I'm not going to say that we will continue to always agree, I am appreciative of the discourse. I'm appreciative of the push that you all have, and I'm appreciative of the ear that you also provide, not only to myself, but the broader community as we are making some challenging decisions. So happy Board Recognition and Appreciation Month. And because this is our very first day of our new year and our first day of our semester, we don't have a lot of reports, but I will invite Mr. Luke Steyer to come forward to do an update related to the Reimagine GRPS with us update.
Good evening, President Williams, Superintendent Dr. Roby, and esteemed trustees. It's good to be with you. Happy New Year. I'll say it as well. Happy New Year. During our final board meeting of 2023, you'll remember you voted on the Reimagine GRPS with Us facility plan. Work continues now to finalize our realignment in the northeast quadrant. That was the part that we pushed into this year to finalize, and I want to give you an update on the work that is underway for that right now. So we've, over the past few weeks, with Plant Moran and our facilities team, we have been doing analysis on 3 northeast school sites, Aberdeen Academy, North Park Elementary, and GRPS University, looking at the birth rate data in those areas, looking at building condition, traffic patterns, to analyze what those sites, which one could be the best for us to put our additional elementary school in that quadrant. That work continues right now. Here in the month of January, GRPS leadership is working on a recommendation to present to the board. We plan to use a period of time in February then to gather feedback from our scholars, from our families, from our staff, and from the community. And then hoping that at the latest that we would be able to have a vote on that recommendation by the board. The latest point would be March. So that is the work that is underway. I just kind of wanted to lay out that timeline a little bit for you as we continue to move that work forward. But over the holiday break, Plant Moran and our facilities team put together a lot of time on analysis, and we've got a good start. We had a good meeting this afternoon as we had conversations, and we'll continue that work here in the days ahead. And then I also just wanted to provide an update on the work to transition families at East Leonard and Stocking Elementaries as they prepare to go to new school homes this coming fall. Our leadership team right now is meeting to finalize attendance boundaries for the 2024-25 school year. We've also been meeting with GRPS staff and partners in the community to make sure that we are all working together on solutions to make this process as smooth as possible for our families. Not just what happens during the school day in those schools, but at after-school programs that those scholars then go to. We've been meeting with our partners. We met with The Other Way today, which runs an after-school program, looking to make sure that we're all on the same page and make sure that we're working together. So this is a smooth process. And I also want to highlight family information nights that are scheduled at East Leonard and Stocking. These will be Great opportunities for families at those two schools to be able to come. East Leonard's is January 29th, Stocking is February 8th. And we will have the principals at the schools that will be receiving those scholars there those nights. We'll have our transportation leaders there. We'll also have GRPS leadership who can talk to families about other neighborhood options or other theme options within our district if they choose to go that route. So we sent out a letter just before Christmas that was mailed to families so that they had that information. And then these flyers that you see here are going home with families this week as scholars return. We're also working with those community partners that we've been meeting with. They're going to help spread the word as well to the scholars that they interact with. So we're planning on those events. Work continues on that. And for any families who can't go to those events, we'll be keeping track of who does attend them so that we can follow up with any families who aren't able to come to make sure that they have all of their questions answered as we move into these critical few months for those scholars.
Before you continue, will you have a second information night, or is the plan just to do the follow-up?
Right now, we're planning one night at each of those. We're going to try to get as many resources from GRPS as possible together on that one night for families to be able to get their questions answered. And then anyone who isn't there, we will follow up directly with them and guide them through the process.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking a little bit similar. I don't necessarily, I'm not going to advocate for additional night and whatnot, because obviously our staff, that means additional work for them too. But in our outreach, I'm thinking at least some proactive notice, sort of acknowledging that we know that everyone may not be able to attend this. And if not, that, there will be some opportunities for them to at least put in what those recommendations might be. They could obviously meet with the respective principals at those other schools themselves, or they could do A, B, or C. I don't know what all that might be, but just sort of getting ahead of it as opposed to, so people know that we were at least thoughtful about this.
I know the letters we sent home in December specifically had a call to action of if you are not available that night, contact your principal and that principal will get you in touch with us so that we can move that process forward.
I'm assuming translation services will be provided here. Is that also notified was this done in Spanish as well and sent home to students?
Yes.
Yep,
both the flyers are in English and Spanish, and the letters that went home in whatever that family's preferred language is chosen. Yes.
Jim, yes. I'm wondering if we thought about having an evening like we had at City, and it was a family evening. Kids came, we fed them. It was very well attended, and maybe feeding them might get more people there.
They're like, all the schools were there? I think that was like the expo.
It was the family appreciation night that Mrs. Downs-Lewis is referring to. This is specifically for those identified families of the schools that will be closing at the end of this school year.
Are we having another expo?
Yes, there is an expo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
there's an expo in addition to, this is, so this is for those specific schools that are closing, but then in addition to, there will be an expo that takes place, and we can certainly make sure that that's communicated. And I don't have the date. I know that we've been working on whatever that date is.
I believe it's February 7th, I believe,
Okay.
yes.
Do you know if, this is a two-part question. One, will any of these sessions, or these two particular sessions, be recorded? And or if not, will there also be bulleted, highlighted points of information that was shared at this particular, either one of these sessions on the website, so those who couldn't attend, there's a removal of a barrier for them to actually access that information?
Can't answer the recorded question. I'll leave that to the team. But I know that what we've talked about is having also virtual kind of walkthroughs of the receiving buildings, so that if you're not able to attend the designated nights, then there also is an opportunity to kind of do a virtual walkthrough of those buildings. Do you want to answer the recorded?
I was going to say, I think it's going to be a little bit less of a presentation and more of a chance for families to meet with our leadership team one-on-one and be able to map out their process specific to where they live, how they fall in the attendance boundaries. So I don't know that there'll be something really to record there, but we'll certainly be able to continue to put out information that we're giving out that night. We'll be able to continue to push out to everyone.
With respect, so I also want to kind of peel back to the 7th, the school expo. What typically happens in a school expo is that also because it's across, it's all of our schools. And what that includes is an opportunity to meet principals and the school leadership and staff from those schools that are present, but then also families are encouraged and invited to do a secondary, like if they want to do a tour of the school at a later date. So that's something that's separate, kind of just for our general public. But we specifically are identifying these two schools of how we're providing support, as those are, they won't exist going into the next year.
Just when I just read information session, to me, based off of the history of how we've done previous information sessions, there's been a talk to. And so I didn't get that aspect of this is a invite to exchange based off of that, based on the history of what our information sessions have been. So that might also be a barrier as far as that communication regards and what they're used to seeing from us with that type of language that's used.
Yeah, we'll make sure that we'll keep working to improve that and make sure that people understand what they'll expect when they come those nights.
My question is, we heard a lot from community about transition plans. I know they might not be finalized, but at these events, I can imagine people asking about transitioning, and I don't want to mispronounce or say the wrong thing, but it was a group of scholars that families were worried about, and it might have been like some type of
Language learners.
was it
Yeah,
language learning?
I think that was at Palmer, though. If it's East Leonard, then it
wasn't
was
language-
special education.
Special
Yeah, cross-categorical program. Yeah.
But special education, like how are we communicating to them families if they come? Like, will they get some type of answers?
Yeah, that is our intention, is that we will be able to give them some clear info on what the impact and how these transitions will happen.
And when those are finalized, will they be rolled out like on that on the website, like how transitions will look, so people can just look that up?
Yeah, we'll work with our
Drop down.
communications team. We're working to determine exactly how we will get that out to both school communities. But yeah, we'll make sure that we have it both online and in letters that go home. Yeah.
So my last question for you is, any point of engagement is also an opportunity to get feedback. Will we also be collecting feedback from families who might want to provide anything during those sessions?
Absolutely. We'll be able to do that in our communication and in our conversations that we have with them. Absolutely. Yeah.
And we also plan on collecting data around who does attend.
Yes.
So that we have an indicator of who have we missed.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. That's all I have.
I do have a question, and I think it's related to the presentation. So I'm still really hoping that we can extrapolate some of the information from our Facilities Master Index about which buildings, like when the buildings would be more financially sustainable by coming down and building a new one versus sustaining the building. I'd really like to have that prior to a March vote on any further development. Specifically, the Northeast side is a home of a lot of older buildings. And so before we really have a comprehensive view, that extrapolation needs to happen. I don't know if this
So
is a
what we've
conversation.
done today is started to have some of those discussions around a new build versus a renovation of those three sites. And we started to kind of dig into what some of that additional information would look like. And so our goal is to continue to peel back the layers of the onion, so to speak, as to what that possibly could be. But we have a crosswalk of comparing the three proposed sites and the benefits of the pros and cons of each. And with the three proposed sites, there are pros and cons, whether it be traffic patterns or growth in the neighborhood. I'm thinking of the things off the top of my head. Neighborhood versus the industrial.
Commercial.
Yeah. And so there's those things that we're starting to kind of peel back those layers. And so we're having those conversations so
But
that.
will Plant Moran be providing a formal Facilities Master assessment then?
Plant Moran is doing that for those three buildings. That's where they're starting on, and they are aware that we'd like it for more buildings throughout our district. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Right.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
That concludes my reports.
And we are on to action items. The first is our regular board meeting schedule for 2024. That was in your board packets. Any questions with regards to that? If not, is there a motion to accept the regular board meeting schedule for 2024?
Support?
Jordan and,
Ms. Davis?
okay, Ms. Davis,
Yes.
It's on there, I checked.
Mr. Eatman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Shockey,
Yes.
Ms. Wade,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All righty. And next we have our purchasing agenda. Is there any questions with regards to our purchasing agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve the purchasing agenda?
So move.
Support?
Okay, Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Eatman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Shockey,
Yes.
Ms. Wade,
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, we need approval of our consent agenda grouping. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda grouping?
So
Motion
move.
for approval? Support?
Mr. Ross, Ms. Shockey?
Mr. Ross. Okay. Ms. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Eatman,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, yes. Ms. Melton,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Mr. Ross,
Yes.
Ms. Shockey,
Yes.
Ms. Wade,
Yes.
Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All righty. And again, next up is discussion items with regard to committee appointments. Please get any preferences to me promptly, and then I will try to hammer that out within the next 7 days, because sometimes it gets a little sticky. So I want to give myself the leeway instead of saying to Friday, but as well give everyone ample time to get that to me. And that is all that I have about that. And then again, you'll schedule your committees starting in February. And next, we're at our public comment for non-agenda items.
President Kim, I wanted to acknowledge your work and the rest of the team that paid attention to the national holidays for that schedule and making sure that we honored Juneteenth as is national holiday on there. So I just wanted to make that known because I know that wasn't done last year, but it was done this year with intentionality. So thank you.
No problem. Thanks for your advocacy there as well. So we will have Ms. Downs-Lewis read us the public comment before we get started.
Once is never enough, is it? I got it. If there are any individuals present who wish to address the board, please fill out the public comment card located at either entrance of the board chambers. Please read the rules on the back of the comment card concerning policy and procedure. We have 2 public comment sections on the agenda. The first one is on the board agenda. Agendas are located by the comment cards. The second public comment opportunity is for commenting on non-agenda items related to the business of the district, but are not topics on the current agenda. If you wish to comment during both public comments opportunities, you will need to fill out separate cards. Individuals must completely fill out the front of the card and indicate the specific business on which they wish to comment. Please submit the completed card in the bin on the table and either entryway of the board chambers. Our board assistant will collect the cards submitted. We ask that speakers refrain from making abusive statements against board members, employees, volunteers, or contractors. Speakers are encouraged to present complaints about a specific board member, employee, volunteer, or contractor through the appropriate process established under the board policy 9450 before requesting the board's consideration. The board policies can be found online at grps.org. Individuals will be invited one at a time to the podium to address the board. Before beginning your comment, please state your full name. At that time, we will start the timer, allowing each individual 3 minutes to make their comment. A 1-minute notice will be provided by flagging a red card. You will need to complete your comment time upon being notified that the 3 minutes have passed. Board members do not respond to comments Concerns will be brought to the attention of the appropriate staff. We value your input and thank you for sharing.
Thank you. First, we have Dan Slater. If you will come down, and then Jane Neiman is up next.
Good evening, everyone. It's so weird to hear my last name. I'm Dan, the art teacher. I know most of you. I've even had some of your lovely grandchildren. We are hiring. Yes, we are. We have definitely well over 100 vacancies. This is not news. It should be shocking. Now, what's going to shock a lot of you? I'm an art teacher. I'm going to present to you numbers. Be prepared. It's an art teacher quoting numbers. It does happen. Currently, according to MIT and their living wage calculator, the living wage for December 2023 in the state of Michigan should be $16.27 an hour for one adult with 0 dependents, contingent upon that employee getting full-time hours totaling no less than 2,080 hours for a year. Even if you just bump it up to 1 dependent, that increases to $36.81 an hour. Just 1 dependent. Now, getting back to this, we are hiring. We have positions starting at $15 an hour. That is abhorrent. We have many positions starting within mere cents of that living wage. And most of those positions starting within mere cents of the living wage recommendation. Mere cents. Most of them are not year-round full-time. So let that sink in. I'm an art teacher. I can do that math. That's not good. We need to be competitive. I might be and am a proud member of the GREA, but I am the chair of the Grand Rapids Educators Coordinating Council. I'm the chair of the groups of all the unions that service the children of Grand Rapids. I work with parapros, child care workers, all of our custodians, maintenance, clerical, food service. A lot of these people are barely making that living wage.
Thank you. After Ms. Neiman, we have Caitlin Homewood.
Good evening again. First of all, I would like to start by saying, yes, thank you for the work that you do. It's nice that there is a month to celebrate Board of Education members. I know that you, as well as our bargaining unit and our union, are very much a part of this work, and we want what's best for the students and communities and families of GRPS. On that note, I wanted to speak to you tonight about the way we communicate with each other. In a board meeting in November, I remember someone speaking about toxic environment and a workplace culture that needs to be more valuing and more uplifting. And I would like to make a recommendation to you, Madam Superintendent, to perhaps revisit how we communicate with each other, with staff, between administration and staff. that it be less threatening and less blaming and more about positively working together. There are often emails sent out where at the bottom it threatens termination. I don't think anybody who works in our bargaining unit doesn't realize that if they don't respect board policy that they can lose their job. But it doesn't need to be stated at the end of every email. And there is also a due process in the contracts before we get to that level. And so it would just be nice if those communications are less threatening. Also, as we are talking about the social work letter of agreement that was discussed previously in December, and which I know the board approved payment for those services up through January 31st. Executive board meets tomorrow night, and as we look at that LOA, I just want to be clear, there was an email sent that I thought was a little inappropriate, that if students didn't receive their services, that it would be somehow our fault that didn't occur if we didn't approve another LOA. To be clear, although I was on the executive board when we approved that initial LOA last year, the intention was to allow the district to go outside to provide these services because we want students to have these services. What we did not realize is that those services would be virtual. So moving forward, as we seek to find an answer to the social worker crisis and to get our students and scholars these services, we want to make sure that it is done well and properly and that those services are actually occurring and that they're effective. So I just want to restate that as we move into 2024, that we make sure that we are communicating between the communication between the GRE and the administration is positive, and that we work together to find good solutions for our problems moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. After Ms. Homewood, we have Mr. Richard, I think it's Trapp. I can't tell if it's an A or an O, so I'm going to go with it. Okay, wonderful.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Homewood. I just want to say it's an honor to address you all, and happy Board Appreciation Month. I'm glad you guys get a month. That's cool. This is my 6th year in GRPS, and I've taught special ed my entire time here. Right now I serve as a member of the executive board as the representative for special ed, so I get to talk to a lot of special educators, paraprofessionals, child care workers, supervisors, TCs, and I hear a lot of concerns about things that are going on district-wide, so I wanted just to bring those to your attention. I also want to say, for some context before I go into that I am a resident of GRPS. I own a home here. I live a block and a half from my school. I'm extremely invested in staying here and seeing our district become the best in the county. So some of the issues that I'm seeing is turnover, not only with our teachers, but also with our leadership in special education. Right now, I think our most senior supervisor has only been here like 3 years or something. We also have a lot of programs that don't have the necessary support staff, like child care workers or paraprofessionals. So there are some teachers or even sometimes subs who are understaffed and dealing with some either major behaviors or major physical or cognitive needs. There are entire buildings of students not receiving services, or entire caseloads worth of students not receiving services or receiving services from long-term substitutes right now, who are getting some support from our department, but honestly everyone is spread so thin, and I see them trying, I really do. This is not a criticism of any one person in particular, but we need to do something about it. Students aren't receiving services and parents aren't being notified as far as I know, and that's a direct violation of federal law, so that's obviously a problem. Something else that I see is that in the Reimagine plan, I would like us to really be thinking about special ed program placement. In the past, when I taught in the emotional impairment program, we were shuffled around every couple of years because it's a heavy load on one building, and a lot of our buildings were not outfitted for that kind of program or some of the extreme behaviors that we saw. And it was not good for students and student growth. It was really frustrating for families, and I saw a lot of staff turnover as a result of it too, so we were losing experienced staff with very specific certifications that are hard to come by. So I'm just asking the board to partner with the special ed department to address some of these issues and dig into them more. And then just support the boots on the ground in the effort to raise our wages and retain the talented staff we have, and then also to recruit new talent. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Trapp and then Mr. Marlowe.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Richard Trapp. I'm a teacher at Union High School. I know there's been a lot about the pay out there, and I think sometimes we go with a bit of a business model with education, and a lot of the things with the business model is well, people don't quit because of pay, they quit because of bad managers, and there's different things out there like that. And there is some truth to that, but it's certainly not 100% true. And you know, I'm in a decent spot on the pay as far as I can get by with where I am after 30 plus years experience. But I'm talking to a lot of our new teachers, and they've just got obligations. You know, they've got pay, they've got they've got rent, they've got student loans. They're trying to do something for retirement. They're trying to make their car payments, their insurance, everything. And you know, when all of a sudden a surrounding district, especially after they get 2 or 3 years of experience, can just say, yeah, here you go, here's an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, we're losing them in droves. And we have a lot of teachers on the top who are close to retirement where, you know, quite frankly, if you threw enough money on top of it, they might stay an extra 3 or 4 years to get that bigger pay bump at the end. So the two ends that we're losing is what we need to attack. You know, we seem to have had a short-term, you know, problem of, yeah, we're short a lot of teachers, so we're doing Elevate K-12, which I'm totally against, because virtual learning, as we found out, just doesn't work. You know, and it's like, well, we got to do something. We'll do something. You know, let's at least attack the pay disparity. You know, we've sent in I'm part of the committee that's, excuse me, should let my nerves get to me. I'm part of the committee that's bargaining, and you know, we'd like to hear back, and we want to do things as quickly as possible. So board members, please encourage let's get this back as fast as possible, and let's get this rolling. You know, I was kind of hoping for a little Christmas present, and we'd get this done by then, but you know, let's go for a President's Day or an MLK present then. Anyway, I just want to encourage you to please, let's get a fast resolution to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Marlowe and then Ms. McBride.
Good evening, Dr. Roby, President Williams, distinguished board members. My name is Matt Marlowe. I'm the GREA president. I just want to spend some time looking ahead to potential staffing challenges in the future. As you've already heard, we currently have over 100 vacancies for GREA staff. Today, we start the second semester. There will be retirements arriving as the end of the school year approaches us, so we know that. And then these retirements are not just going to be in GRPS. There will be retirements through all of Kent County schools in Michigan and beyond. The educational workforce is a very competitive job market right now, and it will be for a long time. And since we have over 100 vacancies currently, there's concern that vacancies will increase with retirements. Well, who's going to fill these vacancies? Currently, the GRE staff are working above and beyond to fill in for these vacancies. So how much is reasonable to ask GRE staff to fill in for these vacancies? Too much can present conditions where people start to look for other opportunities. A major concern is that GRE staff will look upon other opportunities such as higher salaries, reasonable workloads elsewhere in the county. The GRA hopes that we can work together to prepare for retaining and recruiting teachers to work in GRPS. We need to do more to ensure that GRPS students attend schools that are fully staffed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Ms. McBride and then Mr. Jones.
Hello, how are y'all? Thank you so much for being a board that cares and is trying to make a difference. And I can see that in the interactions I've had with the board members. I'm going to hit one of the things that I hit last spring, and that was our pay for planning after for elementary hours. So it used to be we would get our, we could take a sub for 3 hours for extra planning time during the each month. And now we're getting it paid out because there's lack of subs. So we got that pay in our January check, and that was for 11 hours, 11 and a half hours, $189 of planning. So I thought, well, you know, such is life, right? But then if I figured that out based on my hourly rate as a teacher, that would have been roughly $800. So the district took $600 just from me estimated, okay? So that's not gonna come back to me in any form. And there are multiple teachers that are in that same boat. So there's a surplus for y'all to do something with. Number two, I had somebody get back to me from the special ed department, which was glorious. They called me, I was teaching. They sent me an email asking me to send them my planning time hours during my school day so they could figure out a time to connect with me during my planning time that's very limited to start with. And I still don't have the child care worker to support the student in my classroom, so then I have to be available for that student. So I really, my planning time sometimes gets a little iffy. Not all the times, but when I called that person back after hours, when I sent them my times that I'm available, and I thought it was interesting because I always provide my personal email and my personal phone number because I'm a resident. They called me on my school phone, and they emailed me on my school email. So, social workers, they have to be in person. Kids need consistency. Adults need consistency. No matter what your socioeconomic level is, we need consistent adults in order to buy into it. So you can't develop trust. I looked up what does a social worker actually do? Oh, I do that, but I just don't get paid for that. But social emotional link between school, home, and community. You cannot connect with a kid and then help them connect with their community if you're 100 miles away. It just doesn't work out so well. We just need to be consistent. It's just sad. It's so sad that, and you know, I know there's decisions that are made that I do not have the privy to all the information.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
How's everybody doing? D. Jones. First of all, I just want to say I'm thankful to even be at the school board. Last year I spoke, and then I was able to get connected to a cool opportunity just coming to the school board. I was connected to a guy named Alex Thomas in Detroit who's doing some cool stuff with esports, had an esports app. I'm developing a film that's sponsored by Fago, developing an esports TV network and an esports energy drink. And I'm going to be helping them lead all of these things. And as we talk about economic development, as we talk about careers, as we talk about students having to envision a future, I just wanted to thank you guys for just allowing me to speak and me just showing up, because that opportunity would have never even came about if I never came here to the school board and spoke to you guys about esports and video games. And even better, I connected with a guy who was in Canada, and he's doing a FIBA Nike competition.
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, your comments related to the business of the district?
Okay. It is kind of because the same opportunity that I'm offering every student to play in this esports competition, if a student at GRPS happens to win this NBA 2K $2,000 esports competition, they'll be able to go to Canada in 2025 and compete for a $25,000 cash prize and they'll also be able to get NBA 2K draft eligibility. This is something that I developed here. This is the highest level of esports or sports that you can get. And so I hear about staffing and education, like our curriculum needs to change. We need a curriculum. We need better curriculum. We need better educational tools. We need to be attractive. We need to be like the finest girl in the school. I know everybody, girls be thinking they fine and stuff like that, but that's how I look at this. Like we have to have the finest district. We have to have the best stuff. We have to have the best appealing stuff for our community. I have a lot of those things. I've connected you guys to Epic Games. I've seen the history. They even got Lego Fortnite. Kids love Legos. You guys all know what Legos is. Legos is on the planet before I was on the planet. They even have Lego Fortnite, and this is an educational tool that students can use, that teachers can use, that they can educate their students. This is something that we can have at our school district, including the Unreal Engine and these other educational tools. And I asked my school district, as I'm doing all of these things and working hard and going hard as I can to connect with people to develop the best opportunities and equitable, fair opportunities for our students where they can be content creators and develop the content that they have and put it on this app. These are things that I'm doing for my community, and I ask you guys to please utilize the resources that I gave you because I know it can bring staff, it can bring attention. I even am helping bring a 7-figure esports competition, and it's looking promising, and it's going to happen. So I please ask you guys to, please, I'm a visionary. I'm so passionate about this, and I know that this can work, and I've already told you guys about opportunities I've done for myself at the highest level. Please just listen to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have superintendent comments.
I don't have any additional comments.
Board member comments. I know Mr. Ross has made his comment. He said, let's get to the game. So, Ms. Wade. He had already told me.
Was that his comment? I just want to say the word is thriving. We want to get our teachers to a thriving wage. And I mean, we all living, right? We're going to be living as long as we're allowed. But I want our children to be thriving in this district, not just living, not just learning, but excelling and thriving. And I want that for our staff as well. And yeah, I'm sad about $15 too. That just ain't enough. And I worked hard to get my staff at my center to $15. And I'm proud of that. But we're not GRPS. So I really want to see our district making a statement and doing what's right for our educators.
Ms. Davis?
I'm just looking forward to the new year, and thank you all for having confidence in me stepping up to Vice President. I'll do my best. I'm looking forward to working on the superintendent evaluation and getting that organized and ready for all of us to take on this coming year. So just looking forward to the new year.
Thank you. Mr. Eatman?
We have total confidence in you, okay? We want to vote it accordingly. But Happy New Year, everyone. It's a new year, but the work continues, right? And so as we continue to do the work that we started in the fall, we ask that you continue to walk alongside of us, challenge us, and push us. As I stated prior to the break, we all are dedicated to doing this work. And I echo what the superintendent said earlier with no one up here is, we might battle. It might come out with some scars, right? But we are very intentional about making sure that we can hear the voices, and we're leveraging the multiple different voices that we all hear. And that's the whole point of a working board, is to be able to listen to and leverage those voices that we hear from multiple different people to continuously move this district forward. Not just from what you all have shared, but also working in partnership so that we can continue to be that district that everyone else envies, that district that sets the tone to really walk in that innovation. And I really mean that. And I know that my colleagues up here mean that as well, because that's really important for us to set that tone and that standard. And that means dismantling some things that have been historically here prior to all of us. And that requires some work, and it's exhausting. But we volunteered to do that. And so we would just ask that you continue to walk alongside of us in this journey. We're not going to get it right every time. We're not going to be perfect. I just want to put that at the top of our list, just like we might not be perfect with our New Year's resolutions, but we still strive for excellence and still put the work forward to do that. And so keep that in mind as you all continue to walk alongside us, because we are literally wanting to reimagine GRPS with you all as well.
Thank you. Ms. Melton?
Wasn't expecting to go next. Well, I have a lot of the same sentiments that you do, Trustee Eatman. I just am really looking forward to a shift in this reimagination process to, rather than thinking just reactionarily, how we can start envisioning something that's just excellent. You know, thinking about like, how do our buildings become the state-of-the-art, world-class spaces that we want them to be? You know, how do we pay our teachers a wage that's competitive and beyond that? So I'm just looking forward to thinking through not a reactionary stance, but rather this is what we've pictured and this is what we're working towards. And that's hard work, and I'm looking forward to it.
Ms. Shockey?
No comment this evening.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Y'all know what I'm about. I'm gonna keep the same energy in 2024.
All right. Ms. Kathleen Downs Lewis?
I'm glad he's got the energy. Maybe he'll share some with me. I would like people who spoke about, well, first of all, thank you for electing me to the secretary. I'll do a good job, I promise. But I'd like folks to know that we are not unaware of some of the issues you bring before us. And we are not unaware of the fact that you are not paid nearly enough. We are aware of their issues with social workers, issues with so many areas in the building, but it's not as though we're unaware and we're trying to do this to you. If anything, I've been a teacher and I know how hard it is to come every few years and beg for your living, and I know that you do. You have lives and you have things to pay for, and I feel bad that you have to come and feel as though you have to beg for it. And I don't want you to feel that way, because I really believe that all of us up here believe that you do need to be paid more. I don't have a lot of power in terms of making those kinds of decisions, but I certainly, if I have any influence, I will push people that way, because I know how hard you work and I know how much money you really and truly deserve, which we can't afford to pay you anyway.
No comment. This meeting is adjourned.
I'll give you all a hand.
I always, that's appropriate.